There have been various reports over the years of rumors of African ancestry in 5 of America's presidents. The intention undoubtedly was to politically destroy them. But J.A. Rogers, the black historian whose massive research on virtually every conceivable aspect of racial relations organized these sometimes sketchy sources into a booklet, America's 5 Negro Presidents. He was not surprised, he said, that considering the amount of miscegenation that has gone on, that some mixed strain had crept into high places. He would not name one of the 5 because of insufficient evidence. He admitted, however, that to determine who was black in America required an expert whose first qualification was to be crazy. His intent was to denounce the idea of race, other than, of course, the human race. His research on civilizations known to all of us, such as Western Europe, Egypt, Rome, and Greece, turned up evidence of African ancestry in many a household name, who by current laws and customs would be black. J.A. Rogers does not list any person as black unless his research proves at least 1/8 of African strain. Alexander Dumas Sr. is typical. Rogers said that the illustrious Alexander Dumas, who produced more literature than anyone who ever lived, earned during the mid-19th century the equivalent of $10 million in today's currency as a historical novelist. He did for French history what Sir Walter Scott had done for Scottish history. Dumas Sr. is best known in America for his famous works, The Three Musketeers, The Count of Monte Cristo, and The Black Tulip. His father, General Thomas Alexander Dumas, commanded the Army of the Pyrenees and was a confidant of Napoleon and a hero of the French Revolution. In World's Great Men of Color and his other book, Sex and Race, Rogers reveals others such as Beethoven, Hannibal, Cleopatra, and Alexander Pushkin, who created the Russian literary tongue from a half-formed dialect used by enslaved serfs. Rogers draws from and quotes writers, most of whom are white. He spent more than 33 years traveling and researching his facts. Some American presidents have been loudly proclaimed as black in the past, but quietly discussed in contemporary times. Dr. Hollis Lynch is a professor of black history at Columbia University. He is the author and editor of several books on African and Afro-American subjects. Professor Lynch, as a prominent historian who happens to be black, what is your assessment of J.A. Rogers as a historian?
I think he's the most significant popular historian of black people in his time. And unfortunately, he's been very sadly neglected by academic historians. But there's no question at all that he was a most impressive man and historian, very diligent and prolific author of some 10 books, among them Sex and Race in 3 volumes, World's Great Men and Women of Color, Africa's Gift to America. Rogers was especially concerned about the whole question of mixing and miscegenation. He was trying to indicate that the concept of race, that race in some important respects was an artificial barrier. This is what he was trying to indicate. Without denying the validity of the concept of race, he was saying that race is artificial and that it has been used politically and ideologically to suppress groups and sometimes to exterminate them. So his object basically really was to remove barriers among people, to get rid of the notion that black people were inferior, you see. He was showing that, in fact, historically, people of different, quote-unquote, races have been intimate over the centuries, over the millennia, you see. So there was a definite purpose to Rogers's writings.